morning, I'm Amit Packerel, and let's begin with the top stories of this hour. Proposed amendment in the laws related to Truth and Reconciliation Commission likely to favor perpetrators of the insurgency era. Victims lament changes would elude justice. The final meeting of the Eminent Persons Group to submit the joint report to both the governments of Nepal and India before its two-year tenure ends this month. A U.S. border security chief says he has temporarily stopped launching criminal prosecutions of migrants who illegally enter the country with children. And Portugal and Spain make it to the knockout stage of FIFA World Cup from Group B. Spain emerges as group winner and Portugal as runners-up. Let's begin with the national political updates. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission has been entrusted the responsibility to probe into the mass disappearances that took place during the era of the Maoist insurgency. However, despite the lapse of over a decade, majority of the cases have not been addressed. The Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliament Affairs has proposed for the amendment of laws related to the Truth and Reconciliation in order to settle the criminal offences that took place during the Maoist insurgency period. However, the proposed amendment seemed more to be in favor of the perpetrators than the victims. The victims have lamented that the amendments would easily excuse the criminals and deprive them of justice. The proposed amendments have been lenient on murder, disappearances, torture, and sexual crimes, among others. Surprisingly, the ministry has proposed for minimum actions against the perpetrators. For instance, depending upon the seriousness of the crime, one can escape jail term by paying penalty of up to 500,000 rupees, with a 3 years of prohibition from being elected, appointed or nominated for public post. In case proved guilty, their passport would be seized for a mere 3 years and would have to do community service as per court's order. While the ministry has said that the amendments have been proposed for consulting the victims have different story to tell. More than 17,000 people lost their lives during the Maoist insurgency, while 3,000 cases of disappearances were registered. The politicization of Truth and Reconciliation Commission has prevented the Commission from furnishing justice to the victims. The final meeting of the Eminent Persons Group EPG formed to review the treaties and agreements made between Nepal and India is slated for this Friday in Kathmandu. After the final meeting, the EPG will submit a joint report to both the governments of Nepal and Government of India before its two-year tenure ends this month. Both the sides have intensified their legwork to present their reports during the 9th and final meeting that will take place between 29th and 30th of June. The final report, however, will be a joint report made by both Nepal and the Indian side.
धेरै कुरामा मत मिलेको छ अन्तिम अवस्थामा अन्तिम रूप दिनको लागि अहिले भारतमा नेपालले आफ्नो चाहिँ गृह कार्य गरेर दुई देशको चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म भएको संवादको आधारमा हामीहरू चाहिँ एउटा दस्तावेजलाई अन्तिम स्वरूप दिने अवस्थामा छौँ। अब आउने बैठकले त्यसलाई चाहिँ नि त्यो छलफलबाट हामीहरू निष्कर्षमा पुग्छौँ।
Nepal and India so far have hosted 4 EPG meetings each. From these meetings, the two sides agreed to revise the 1950 Nepal-India Peace Treaty. However, the details of the revision regarding aspects to be touched upon have not been disclosed as of yet. Both the sides are on the same page on issues like border management, national security, utilization of water resources, among others. However, there are still a few proposals made by the Nepalese side that the Indian representatives have yet to respond to. And time now for a short break. For more news, do stay with us. Welcome back after the break. The government had said that the constitution amendment process would be moved forward once Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli returned from his 6-day state visit to China. But the government and Rashtriya Janata Party haven't done any homework in this regard. Sanghiya Samajwadi Forum had joined the government after signing a 2-point agreement with Communist Party of Nepal last month on the 20th of May. Rashtriya Janata Party is ready to join the government if the constitution amendment process is moved forward. but homework hasn't been done yet to amend the constitution. The government that had agreed with Sanghiya Samajwadi Forum to amend the constitution has repeated its stance that the constitution amendment process would be moved forward on the basis of need and significance. Meanwhile, the government is confused on how to move forward in the current circumstance. Looking at the preparations the government has been making, the constitution amendment case seems to be only a strategy implied by the government. Transactions in the share market have gone down for quite some time now, while there were times when companies received 4 times the applications. Against the number of FPOs placed, the demand for further public offerings have also been discouraging in recent days. On the 13th of June, MB Bank has sent FPOs worth 3.85 billion rupees to the share market. However, in the past 10 days, the share market has only received applications for 2.41 billion rupees. Prior to this, a similar scenario was seen when Butwal Power Company could only sell 72% of their FPOs. There have been records of rights shares going up for auction due to the lack of buyers. Judging by the FPO situation at the share market, it is likely that the FPOs could face a similar fate. Financial institutions have increased the supply of rights shares in order to raise their paid-up capital. However, the demand has remained low as investors seem disinterested in the declining share market. As for the case of NMB Bank, the current market price of the bank's shares stand at 345 rupees. Financial experts opine the reason behind the lack of investors' interest in the bank's FPO is the 333 rupees per share price at which they place their FPOs. By mid-July, more companies will be issuing FPOs. Nepal Bank Limited has announced of selling FPOs of around 5 billion rupees. Likewise, Shivam Cement is also calling for investors for premier shares in this fiscal year, at a time when banks are having to raise the interest rates to encourage savings. Repeated calls for FPOs by companies is certain to worsen the shortage of money in the share market. And yesterday, we had asked the residents of Chapa, Udaipur and Dang why the cases filed against the government are ineffective and not addressed. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
प्रहरीले चाहिँ अनुसन्धान गर्दाखेरि अब त्यस्तो खालको चाहिँ साधनहरु छैन नि त कसरी चाहिँ त्यो कुरा पत्ता लगाउनु उनीहरु त एउटा शंकाको भरमा अथवा अहिले चाहिँ आएर एउटा यही टेलिफोनहरुको माध्यमबाट यस्तै चाहिँ मात्रै अब उनीहरुले चाहिँ अनुसन्धानबाट चाहिँ उनीहरुलाई खोजिराखेको छ के र त्यो सबै कुरा चाहिँ उपयुक्त हुँदैन
अदालतले बुझ्ने प्रमाण र अनुसन्धानबाट आएका प्रमाणहरुमा चाहिँ भिन्नता आउँछ त्यो कारणले चाहिँ बढी मुद्दाहरु असफल हुने गरेको पाइन्छ
राजनीतिक दबाव आर्थिक चलखेल र अन्य किसिमका बाह्य यस्तो किसिमका दबावहरु पर्ने भएकाले जो अभियोजन पक्ष छ त्यसले अलिकति अभियोजनको क्रममा अलिकति उदासीनता देखाउने
राजनीतिकरण पनि हुन्छ अनि त्यहाँबाट आर्थिककरण पनि हुन्छ यी दुईटै कारणले फितल हुँदै गएको हो अन्तिममा गएर चाहिँ नि के सम्बन्धित निकायमा गएपछि छोड्छन्
अनुसन्धान पद्धति प्रक्रिया जुन छ नि त्यो चाहिँ अलिकति खोजमूलक पनि छैन र अलिकति वैज्ञानिक तरिकाले अनुसन्धान गर्ने त्यसरी सन्दर्भ सामग्रीहरू हैन उहरुको पनि अभावको कारणले होला
And it's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what's your take on the government's bid to decrease the jail term of perpetrators of incidents during insurgency? And options are A, more agony for victims, B, lack of empathy, and C, reconciliation ploy. The voting is on. Type in AWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And before we wrap up, a reminder of the top stories. Proposed amendment in the laws related to Truth and Reconciliation Commission likely to favor perpetrators of insurgency era. Victims lament changes would elude justice. The final meeting of the Eminent Persons Group to submit a joint report to both the governments of Nepal and India before its 2-year tenure ends this month. A U.S. border security chief says he has temporarily stopped launching criminal prosecutions of migrants who illegally enter the country with children. And Portugal and Spain make it to the knockout stage of FIFA World Cup from Group B. Spain emerges as group winner and Portugal as runners-up. And that's all for this hour. Keep watching Kantipur TVSD for more news, entertainment and updates on the FIFA World Cup 2018. Have a good day.